Welcome to Onshape for Makers, where we are creating models to go to the shop. Today's part comes from the Too Tall Toby website and the Too Tall Toby YouTube channel. This part was one of the challenge parts he had for April of 2024. It's an interesting part. It's an assembly of base parts. This is the drawing. The drawing is made to be difficult to read on purpose because it was a speed modeling challenge, and half of the challenge is finding the dimensions in this drawing on purpose. But for our purposes, what we want to do is look at how to build it in a usable format as simply as possible. Not worried about speed, worried about durability and the ability to change the model when the customer comes in. So if we look at the part, it's got a very large CounterSync in the top. It's got a tube that is embedded in the button top, and then it's got an extension plate with a lightning hole, and a second tube is probably a mounting point. If you look at it in abstract, you'll see that it's really four parts. They are simple shapes. You have a cylinder, a button, a plate, and another cylinder. So when we draw this thing, we will create the button first, and then we will create the side plate and these two, and extrude them out and add them to the button top like this. And then we will create this CounterSync by drawing a side view profile of the hole, doing a revolve cut, and to finish the part we will use a hole tool to put the holes in the two tubes. These holes happen to be the same size, so it will be very easy to do. So we're going to go from this to that in short order, as simply as possible, with sketches that are simple, easy to work on, and easy to change when a customer comes in on Friday afternoon with the last minute change for the parts he has to have on Monday. Let's start up your favorite modeling software. I'll be using Onshape because it's free, and that's what I have. If you want to, grab a copy of this blueprint to refer back to. I'll pull it over to the screen periodically, but you may want to look at it yourself. Okay, here we go. Starting with a new part studio, we will come +, create part studio, go to the hamburger menu, pull it down to workspace units, change units, if yours isn't already set, down to millimeter with 0 decimals. Under mechanical mass default, change pound to gram, 0 decimals, green check mark, and we are ready to go. We're going to start a sketch on the front plane. We're going to do N for normal. By the way, I set up keycaps in the lower right corner so you can see what I'm pressing. We are going to start off by doing this button head. The button head is 115 on the top, it's 60 on the bottom, it's 60 tall and 85 tall respectively. So the easy way you can sketch it, I kind of prefer just to use a center point rectangle. Out here, this on the bottom is 60. The height is 60 plus, the height is 85 at this point. And that gets the bottom. Then we can go to a center point rectangle a second time, pull it out. The diameter is 115. The height is 85 minus 60, and that gives us our button. We will draw a vertical line to bisect and use that to do the revolve. So we will go to Revolve. We will select these 3 panels. Revolve axis, of course, will be the line. We'll do a check mark, tilt it over. There is the button. I'm going to right click on part, go to Edit Preferences, and change the color because my monitor does blues not all that well for some reason, so I try to avoid them. Anyway, if we go back to normal from where we were on the front plane, there is the button. Our next part that we're going to do these 2 tubes as solid bars and put the holes in later. So we have one that's 45, we have one that's 44. We have 85 from the base up to this, which is the origin, so it would be 0, and we have 90 to this one, so there's 5 difference. So we will start off in sketch mode on the front plane with a circle. From the origin, we will pull out and do 45. I'm going to hide the part since we really don't need it. And then I'm going back to circle, and I'm going to put a second one slightly above the first one, and this one is 44. Go to dimension. The dimension for that is 125, and the distance from here to here is 5, but to actually show that, I'm going to type in 90 minus 85, and when I do, you'll get the little function symbol next to the dimension, which tells you later on that that's a composite dimension and not a hard dimension when you go back a year from now and start looking for it. So those are the 2 tubes that we need. All we need now is this face, and to get this face we have a 60-degree tangent, and we have a horizontal line that comes out to a 56 radius tangent, and we have a line that is 40 out and 10 down to get these 2 edges off of this with a 12 offset. So to start off, I think I will start off on this axis and come out a little ways. I'm in dimension mode, my bad. Go to line, come out, move out, touch it, come back, and we go in arc mode. Go coincident to the circle, and that radius is 56. And then we will go to T for tangent, make those 2 tangent, go tangent on those 2, and we have a fully defined line. Now we have one from the bottom of the button over to here, so we will re-show the button, do a use for convert or use or whatever, and then hide the button again. And start a line, and we will just continue this line for a ways, pull out, come back, go to radius, click. The radius on this is 40, and then we will simply go coincident to the circle, do an escape. I'm going to do a box select to get tangent on these 2. They should be, but I'm going to set them. And I'm going to do a box select going from right to left to get tangent here. The dimension we're missing is the angle, so we're going from the horizontal line to the angled line, and that should be 60 degrees, and we're fully defined. The one thing we're missing is the lightning hole. To get the lightning hole, I'm going to go to the offset tool, select the radius, left click, hold, and drag, and it will ask me for a distance, and I will put in 12. Let's see, where are we? We need a vertical line, and we need a line that comes out here, and this line by dimension should be 40 from the center line to the edge of the lightning hole. And this line that comes across here should be 10 below this, but we don't have that, so I'm going to do a convert or use. I'm going to pick up this line. I'm going to draw my line from here across to here. Escape, dimension of 10. And then I'm going to the trim tool, which is M for trim, and I'm not sure why, and clean up a little bit. And all I lack are 8 millimeter radiuses in those corners. So I'll go to the sketch fillet, select 3 points, press enter, and 8. And that gives us everything except the vertical line from the origin down to that. This turns gray, which means we have an enclosed section and we're ready to go. I'm going to redisplay this part because I want to do an extrude. And when you get too much highlighted, just hit the space bar and the highlights will all go away. I'm going to take that, I'm going to do a symmetric, and the distance on that is 160. In solid add, we're going to hold the shift key down and press enter. That recycles, and I can use extrude tool again without picking it off the bar. I'm going to select the plate. This one is 20 millimeters and it is symmetric, and you do shift enter. And we'll pick this last circle. We'll do 40. We'll do symmetric and do an enter and a P to get rid of all, and shift P to get rid of everything. Go back, turn the origin back on so I still have it, and we have a complete part except for 2 holes and the center CounterSync. I started to say counterbore, I knew that wasn't right. With the planes back on, I'm going to start a sketch on the right plane, do Shift S, right plane, and then I need this line, and there's 2 ways to get it. The way I prefer is intersection of this surface and that plane will get me a line. I can also come to the bottom and get a line, and those lines will define the boundaries for the CounterSync. I'm going to hide the part, go in for normal. The hole from the top to the bottom is 33, so I'm going to go to a corner rectangle, start, pull down, move my mouse over here, type in 33 divided by 2, and that will be, when I finish the revolve, the vertical hole. The CounterSync starts somewhere over here and goes somewhere over there. Escape out of that. The angle, included angle for the CounterSync is 55 degrees, so I need divided by 2, half of that. And the breakout distance or diameter on the CounterSync is 85, and I need half of that divided by 2. And this is the CounterSync, and this is the through hole, and we are ready to go. Green check mark, I'm going to go ahead and select this before I display the part. Tilt it up a little bit, go to revolve. Axis of revolve will be that line, and remove will make a hole. Green check mark, and we have finished that nasty little detail very simply. We have 2 holes to do. We can do that with a hole tool. We'll select metric, simple hole, drilled, and a diameter of 25 millimeters starting from part, going through all. And instead of making 2 sketches and making 2 center points, I'm going to use a mate connector. The mate connector will automatically snap to the center of the circle. When I click, I get the hole in the center of the circle. The mate connector is defined by the geometry of the bar, or OD of the bar, so if it ever changes, the mate connector will float with it and the hole will follow and always be in the center. It makes it easier to do mods later on. Green check mark, and we have finished the part. The one thing I want to show you is how to check the part. When Toby gives you this, he will give you a material density, and this is 2,700 kilograms per cubic meter, which does us no good. But if we divide it down, it comes out in decimal places to look like this. Right click, go to Assign Material. When we get there, we're going to go to Custom, and we're going to type in My Material, or whatever you want to call it. It makes no difference. And the 2,700 becomes 2.7 E minus 3 scientific notation, enter, check mark. When we select mass properties and select the part, you should see 1416 grams. That would be the correct weight for the part, and that means you have a good part. Hope you learned something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. I did. Talk to y'all later.